Let's just take a breath together as we just move deeper into this Sunday service, moving deeper into that place where we recognize our theme for the year being life is for living, just say yes. Life is for living, just say yes. And that's what we're continuing to do through all that's going on. We continue to say yes to life. We continue to say yes to life because what's the alternative? What's the alternative? If we don't say yes to life, then what? You know, I have discovered over the last few weeks that some people are more afraid of living than they are of dying. Some people are more afraid of living than they are of dying. And I'm going to say that again. Some people are more afraid of living than they are of dying. Of course, that's none of us here. That's none of us here because we are committed to living full out. We're committed to saying yes to life. We're committed to just moving forward. And yes, this is a strange time that we're going through. We say that every week. We acknowledge that every week. And we have to acknowledge where we are. This is a different time for all of us. This is a time that we've never experienced before. This is a time of tremendous change, of tremendous turbulence. And yet it's life. It's still life happening. And we're all in this together. And I think that is so important for us to remember that we're all in this together. And one thing that I'm reminded of during this time is that, again, how interdependent, how interconnected our lives are. We have to keep that in mind all the time. And we have to be steadfast in our awareness. Our theme this month is steadfastness and the promise in steadfastness. Steadfastness is being faithful, being dependable, being reliable. And that's what we are as we go through this time of being steadfast in our awareness of our commitments to each other, of our connection to each other, and of our interdependence on each other. And so as we go through this time, keeping in mind that we are all in this together. I heard a healthcare worker say the other day that our health depends on you, and your health. My health depends on yours, and your health depends on mine. My health depends on yours, and your health depends on mine. I'll say that again. My health depends on yours, and your health depends on mine. And so when we look at how we go through this time now, when we go through the guidelines of washing hands and wearing masks and socially distancing and doing all those things that we're doing, you know what we're really doing is practicing the golden rule. We're really practicing the golden rule. We are really practicing the golden rule. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. I wear my mask to protect you. You wear your mask to protect me. We're all in this together. If I don't wear my mask when I'm around you, then am I mindful of what risk you may be at? I may walk around thinking, oh, there's nothing wrong with me. I know that I'm just fine and whatever, and that may be the case, but who knows? Why would I take that chance for you? And why would you take that chance for me? So we are doing this whole guidelines dance that we're doing, COVID-19 dance that we're doing, oneness dance that we're doing in a totally different way. That consciousness of oneness, that we are all in this together, that we are all in this life together, that we are all doing life together, and we are doing it in a way that works for all of us. And when we can do it in a way that works for all of us, that's when we do get into that golden rule consciousness. That's when we do get into that consciousness of oneness, of there being only one life, of there being only one power, of there being only one presence, and that one being my life, that one being the life, your life, that one being the life of us all. And when we are in that place of recognition of that, when we walk through that, then we live our lives differently. We begin to live our lives differently. And so I'm going to ask you to take a breath as we just think about how life has changed so much, and that we are all have been changed so much, that everything has changed, and how do we move forward from here? We're not sure. We don't know how we move forward in our individual lives. We don't know how we move forward. We don't know how we move forward as a community. We don't know how we move forward as a church community. We don't know how we move forward. We don't know anything about what's going on. But what we do know is the right here and the right now. What we do know is how we can move through this life right here and right now. We do it by putting one foot in front of the other. We're doing it by living one day at a time. We do it by taking one step at a time. We do it by being conscious and consciously aware of what we're thinking, what we're saying, how we are moving through our lives, even when we are alone. Even when we are alone. And so my topic today is as within. As within. As within. You know, there's a saying in religious science that as within, so without. As within, so without. As within, so without. Ernest Holmes says that everything works from within. Everything works from within, and it doesn't matter how many mistakes we have made. There's still that perfection within each one of us. There's still that perfection. We are perfect beings within, and then the within becomes the without. The within becomes the without. Everything works from within out. Everything works from within out. Doesn't matter how many mistakes we have made. We are still perfect beings within, and the within becomes the without. And that's what we have to keep in mind always, that we are perfect beings within. We are perfect beings within, and this is the truth of our being, that we are perfect beings within, and that perfection will be revealed on the outer to the degree that we are in alignment with it. Because even though that perfection, and even though we are perfect beings within, unless we are in alignment with that perfection, we cannot express that on the outer. We cannot express that on the outer. To the degree that we are in alignment with it, we can express it on the outer. And so that's what we have to constantly be aware of. And we have plenty of time to do that now. We have plenty of time now to really come back to basics, to really come back to center, to really come back to the truth that we know, to really come back to, how am I living my life? Is this the way I want my life to look? Is this the way I want to go forward in my life? Is this the way I want to go forward in my community? Because, you know, when we all come back together at CLF here as a community, how we move forward is a part of our collective consciousness. It's a part of our collective consciousness. It's not just how I decide that we're going to move forward or the board decides how we're going to move forward. It's how we all move forward together because we are all one. We are one community. We are one community, all expressing God according to our own uniqueness, according to our own individuality. And to the degree that we can be steadfast in our awareness that we are all one, in our awareness that we are all a part of the greater good, the whole, that we are all working toward the greater good, then to the degree that we are in that place, then that's how we begin to move forward as a community. That's how our community begins to unfold in a totally different way, in a totally different way, in a way that is still loving, in a way that is still caring, in a way that is still filled with the desire to connect. We just have to learn how to do that in a different way. And that comes, again, according to our collective consciousness. And so I invite you today to really go within and really examine what our thoughts are, what our concerns are, what our cares are, what our secret thoughts are, those things that we don't express to anybody, because you can say one thing and you're thinking another and then wonder why life doesn't change. That's not the way it works. As within, so without. As within, so without. And you can say anything you want. You can speak all words of truth, but if you're not thinking it, if you're not believing it, if you're not living it, it doesn't work. It doesn't work. And so we have to keep in mind, as within, so without, as we move forward through this time. And so I invite you to just take a breath. There are a couple of things I want to remind you to do. One of them is let go of being a victim. Let go of victim consciousness. Just shake that off. You know, this COVID-19 is not happening to us. The things that having to stay inside, stay-at-home orders, these things are not happening to us. We're not victims of this. This is just life happening. I said this last week, I think. This is just life happening. And life is not happening to us. Life is just happening. And how we experience life is determined according to our own consciousness. It's determined by the consciousness that we carry. It's determined by our inner life, our inner awareness, our acceptance of truth, or our acceptance of all the stuff that's going on out there. That's what determines what our experience will be. And so just not being in a place of being victimized. I've watched the guidelines being softened, being relaxed over the last few days. And people who have been home have acting like they've been victimized by it. Being victimized by someone trying to protect us, by us taking precautions, by all these things that are necessary for us to do. We're not being victimized by that. It's our consciousness that makes us feel victimized. It's our attitude of, well, what else can happen to me? I've heard a lot of that in the last few weeks. What else can happen to me? Please don't ask that question. Please don't ask that question. That is not a good question to ask. What else can happen to me? No, you don't want to ask that. Because it's not happening to you. It's not happening to you. God is not doing anything to us. God is not failing to do anything for us. God is just being God. God is just being God. And when we are aware of that God is always God, no matter what our emotional storm of what our specific situation may be. That's Ernest Holmes says something similar to that. God is always God, no matter what our emotional storm of what our objective situation may be. That's what he said. God is always God, no matter what our emotional storm of what our objective situation may be. And so it doesn't matter what's happening for us. God is just being God. Life is just being life. And so it's up to us to determine how we are going to respond to it, how we are going to live through this, how we are going to modify our behavior, how we are going to modify our thinking, how we are going to change our thinking, change our life. Because that's our basic principle. Change your thinking, change your life. And so how am I going to change my thinking so that it is in alignment with what's going on right here today? It is in alignment with what I want in my life right now. It is in alignment with how I want my life to move forward. It is in alignment with how I want to see our community come back together safely, caring, connected, protected, in love, in light. And we do that according to our collective consciousness, as I said. And so as within, so without. Let go of the victim consciousness. Let go of the victim consciousness. If something is happening that you don't like, that you didn't expect, take a deep breath and go deeper into your spiritual practice. Take a deep breath and go deeper into the solution and not focusing so much on the problem. Because as we focus on the problem, yes, take care of what needs to be taken care of. But when we are focusing on it as a problem, when we are focusing on it like we are being victimized by it, when we become victims, do you know we set ourselves up to be victims of everything? We set ourselves up to be victimized, and then we become victims of our own victimization or our own belief in being the victim. And so just being mindful that you're not walking around feeling like a victim because you can't go to the store, or because you can't go to the casino, or because you can't go to the pool, or whatever the case may be. Just take a deep breath and just see how can you do the things that you want to do, and how can you look at doing something differently, or look at doing something different, doing something that you've never done before. Doing something that we've never done before. This is a time that's calling us all up higher. This is a time that's calling us all up to do something that we haven't done before, to think in a way we haven't thought before. And one thing that I want to say about victim, the other side of the victim coin is bully. Being a bully is the other side of being a victim. And so sometimes victims will bully others. Sometimes victims will bully others because of their own victimization. And so they project that outward. So sometimes people are bullying each other according to what they see going on, how people are dealing with the situation that's going on now, how people are dealing with COVID-19. There are bullies out there around us. And then there are people who have been victimized by the bullies. And it's just, it's a never-ending cycle, a never-ending cycle. So think about which one are you? Because it's all just one victim, really. Just acting out in a different kind of way. Is that really what you want to be? Is that really how you want to live your life? Is that really how you want to move forward in your life? Is that really a way to move forward in our lives? So we really just want to be in a place of just taking a deep breath, just taking a step back, and just recognizing that, you know what? In the midst of all of this, God is. In the midst of all of this that's going on, God is. And all I need to do is turn within to that God presence within me and just release all this stuff. Release all this stuff that I don't want to be a part of my life any longer, that I don't want to carry around with me any longer. Let me release the idea of being a victim. Let me release the sense of what can happen next. And just release and say, oh, wow, I can't wait to see what happens next. That's a totally different energy. That's a totally different energy to be expectant, have an expectancy of good. Have an expectancy of good. Ernest Holmes says that joy is the emotion excited by the expectancy of good. And so when we have an expectancy of good, we can start to experience joy in our lives. When we start to experience, when we continue to go through what else can happen to me, that's an expectancy, but certainly not of good. That's an expectancy, but certainly not of good. And so the thing we want to do is release that, what else can happen to me, and say, oh my goodness, I can't wait to see what else happens. I can't wait to see what the next thing is. I can't wait to see what the next step is. I can't wait to see how we rise up from this. Because from every crisis, we rise up. From every crisis, we grow. From every crisis, we expand. And while we're going through it, it doesn't look like it. It doesn't feel like it. And yet it is the truth. And so I invite you to release that victimhood. Let go of that. Take a deep breath. And just be in that place where you just start to look at your experiences. Look at the experiences that you're having, because we can't experience something that we're not aligned with in consciousness. We can't experience something that we're not aligned with in consciousness, and it can be our individual consciousness, or it can be race consciousness, because sometimes we experience things because of the race conscious beliefs, what the entire race believes, what the entire human race believes. And when we start to get involved in race consciousness, that's where our spiritual practice comes in, because we are not subject to race consciousness when we are living in alignment with the one, when we are living in alignment with the all that is, when we're living in alignment with the truth, then race consciousness is in a totally different place, because we are not at that vibratory level. So we want to make sure that we are looking at our experiences, because our experiences, the without, that's what our experiences are, the without, tells us what's happening within. Our experiences, the without, tells us what's happening within. So pay attention to what's happening. Pay attention to what's happening outwardly, so that we'll know what's trying to express itself within. I've heard a lot of people say during this time on TV particularly, how bored they are. What's trying to express, when we are in a place of boredom, there's something seeking expression through us. There's something seeking expression. If you're feeling bored, then there's no room for creativity. If you're focusing on being bored, there's no room for divine creativity. And divine creativity is just sitting there waiting for an opening, just sitting there waiting for a way to express through you. And so I'm inviting you to just, if you're feeling bored, okay, open my mind, open my heart, open my entire being to allow divine creativity to flow through me, divine ideas to flow through me now. Divine creativity is the word that just keeps coming up. Divine creativity is seeking expression. It wants to express through us. When we look at things online or stories of different people on TV, we see how much creativity has come through during this time. People who didn't know they could sew. People who didn't know they could bake. People who didn't know they could write. Look at the creativity that children are involved with right now. Because they are open, they aren't sitting around bored, they're open to, let's see what else we can do. Let's see how we can create this. Let's see how we can help over here. Let's see all the things that they seek to do. They're doing much more easily, much more effortlessly, because they're much more open. They're much more open. And this is a time for us to be much more open. This is a time for us to be much more open. This is a time for us to be much more open to that power and that presence within us that is the answer to all things, that is the solution to all problems, that is the solution to all challenges. When we are much more open to it, then it starts to show up in our lives as whatever it is we desire, as whatever it is we want to express and experience, and as however it wants to express and express through each of us. Ernest Holmes also says that through faith we can claim our desire for good for ourselves and for others. And when we allow our entire being to be in harmony with that good, it is then that we shall kiss the lips of our desire. When we in faith claim the good that we desire for ourselves and others, and when our entire being is in harmony with that good, it is then that we shall kiss the lips of our desire. The key is being in harmony with that good. Whatever good it is we seek, whatever good it is we want to experience, whatever good it is we want to express, whatever good it is we want to be, then we have to be in harmony. We have to be in harmony. Our entire being, our entire inner being has to be in harmony with that good. It has to be in complete harmony with that good. And so if your entire being is in harmony with abundance, then you can kiss the lips of a new job. You can kiss the lips of more money coming in. You can kiss the lips of anything that represents abundance to you. If your entire being is in harmony with peace, then you can kiss the lips of releasing and letting go of anger. You can kiss the lips of peace itself. If your entire being is in alignment, is in harmony with any quality of God, then we can kiss the lips of good every day, of whatever it is we desire every day. Imagine that. When my entire being is in alignment with the all that is, when my entire being is in alignment with that which I desire, when my entire being is in alignment with whatever it is that I want, that I desire, then I can kiss the lips of that desire because I'm in harmony with it. When it's in harmony, then I can kiss the lips of whatever that desire is because it has to come to me. It has to come to me. That's how the law works. That's how the law works. So I'm inviting you to decide what it is that you want in your experience. What is the good that you desire? What is the good that you desire? What do you name it? What do you call it? We all have different names for the good that we desire. But whatever the desire is that you have, whatever the name is that you have for the desire that you have, for your desire for good, then make sure that first of all, there's faith, there's steadfastness, there's faith, there's faithfulness to that good that you desire. You're seeing it, you're feeling it, you're talking about it, you are embodying it. And when we do that, then our entire being moves in harmony with it, into harmony with it. And when our entire being is in harmony with it, then we can kiss the lips of it. That's what Ernest Holmes tells us. We can kiss the lips of it. I love that phrase. Kiss the lips of whatever it is your desire is. Kiss the lips of that. Kiss the lips of peace. Kiss the lips of love. Kiss the lips of ease. Kiss the lips of grace. Kiss the lips of good. That's what we can do. Simply by changing our thinking, change the way we're looking at our lives, changing our minds, changing that which we embody, because that which we embody becomes a part of our experience, and that which we give our attention to over and over and over again. When we're constantly talking about COVID, when we're constantly talking about how bad it is, when we're constantly talking about things from a negative state, that's what we're giving our attention to. That's what we begin to embody, and that's what we begin to experience. And so what we want to do is to bring our entire being into alignment, into harmony with that we desire, whatever good it is that you desire. Think about it. What do you wish to experience? Take a breath. What do you wish to experience? Think about it. What do you wish to experience? Now take a breath and just feel yourself moving into alignment. What does that feel like? Whatever it is you want to experience, what does that feel like? Whatever it is if it's a good relationship you want, what does that feel like? If it's abundance and prosperity that you want, what does that feel like? Use your imagination. What does that feel like? What does that feel like? If it's perfect health that you want, what does that feel like? Imagine what that feels like. What does that feel like to be pain-free? What does that feel like? Move yourself into complete harmony with that. Embody that good that you desire. And as you embody it within, that becomes the without. That becomes the without. So keep in mind, as within, so without. As within, so without. As within, so without. The within becomes the without. If you don't know what the within is like, look at your without. Look at your without. And then that requires you to look at your within. Because we're already perfect beings within, as Ernest Holmes says, and the within becomes the without. But to the degree that there's something blocking us from being that, expressing that perfect being that we are, to the degree that there's something that's limiting it in some way, something that is encumbering it in some way, then that's when we have to take a deep breath and let go of whatever it is that could be blocking the perfect expression of this perfect being that we are. And so I invite you to really, really, really take a look at, what am I experiencing? And is this what I want to experience? And if not, how do I move into harmony with the good that I desire, with what I want to experience? And then start to do that. Because when we start to ask those questions, and when we ask those questions from a place of center, from a place of oneness, this is the promise of steadfastness, oneness, healing our sense of separation from God. When we go into that place of oneness with God, go into that place and that consciousness of being totally aware of the power and the presence of God that is within us always, that is right where we are always, that is always working for our good, that is always giving of itself to us, always giving the good is already given to us. And when we can open up to receive it, when we can open up to experience it, wow. That's when the within and the without become one. The within and the without become one, because there is only one. The within becomes the without. And that's what we want to experience, our within becoming the without, where all needs are met, where we are living in perfect oneness, perfect harmony. And so I invite you today to just take a deep breath as we just turn within to that place where we know and sense and feel the presence of God and know that that presence is always with us. So let's turn within to that in this moment as we take a deep breath together and we move into prayer. So just turning within to that perfect place of wholeness. Turning within to that perfect place of oneness. Turning within to that perfect place of knowing that God is all there is. Turning within to that perfect place of recognizing that there's but one power, there's but one life, there's but one breath, there's but one activity, there's but one mind, God, source, intelligence, infinite presence. This one is my very life. This one is the life of us all. This one is the only life. This one is that from which I can never be separate. This one is that from which I can never stray from its presence. This one is always right where I am, always available. Always available. And so by this word that's being spoken here right now, I know that I am opening myself to be available to it. And I speak this word for each of us, that we are all open to be available to that one power, that one presence that is perfect. That one power, that one presence that is whole, that one power, that one presence that is our very life. And know that this one power guides us, it directs us, it shows us the way, it heals us, it heals our body temples, it heals our bodies of affairs. It reveals itself as wholeness in and through and as our lives always. Always. And we just open up and let go of the stuff that would block, open up and let go of the things that would hinder in any way. And we just allow ourselves to be available, completely available, open and available, in harmony with the good that one is always giving over and over and over as it gives of itself over and over and over again. We're saying yes to it. We're saying yes to it. We let go of fear. We let go of grief. We let go of doubt. We let go of anxiety. We let go of feeling less than. We let go of pain, of loss. For we know that there's that great comforter that is right where we are, healing our broken hearts, healing our aching hearts, comforting us, guiding us, directing us, always right where we are, loving us, lifting us up, always lifting us up, that great light that is God, that great love that is God, is always right where we are. On this we can rely, on this we can lean always. And so I'm just speaking a word of wholeness and a word of healing for all of us this day, as we release and let go and open up and say yes to God, yes to healing, yes to wholeness. Yes, yes, yes. And so as I open this circle of prayer, I pause momentarily so that you may speak the names of anyone you'd like held in prayer. You may speak their names silently or loud, and you may speak them now. And so for all those whose names were spoken here this day, I know that God is. That's all I need to know is God is. In the midst of every situation and circumstance, God is. No matter what we name it, no matter what we call it, God is in the midst of everything. And all indeed as well. This prayer goes out to anyone on this planet needing a prayer this day. All those who have been affected by this COVID-19. All those who are impacted, who've lost loved ones, who are impacted in their own health. I know that God is in the midst. God is healing. God is comforting. God is loving. God is lifting us up. God is. And so I just simply say, thank you, Father, Mother God. Thank you, Father, Mother God. Thank you, Father, Mother God. I just allow it to be now. And so it is.